Hey, this is Ryan from Municipal Waste, and you're listening to Interview Under Fire.
Go down to the chair, but that will never stop. The resurrected voice of the river could drop. You thought he had escaped, and let me with the charge. The motion to your...
All right, everyone, welcome back to a new edition of Interview Under Fire. As always, this is your host, Sonny, here, back once again. Today, I have the honor of speaking with the insanely talented axe shredder in Ryan Waste. I've been looking forward to this one, okay? Ryan, thank you so much for joining our IUF series today, bro. You know, this is shaping up to be an exciting year for you and your bandmates over at the mighty Municipal Waste with the drop of your latest album, Electrified Brain. It's been about a week or so since it dropped on Nuclear Blast. Let me begin, Ryan, by commending you on, like, what is it, 2 decades of thrash with Municipal Waste. And
22 years, yeah.
Crazy to think about. And, of course, the well-deserved recognition this album has been getting so far. I mean, shout out to the other publications like Decibel, Metal Injection, and Kerrang, to name a few, who've been praising your work. So much to unpack about this hell-blazing thrasher over record and what you're all about. Before we get to all that, I know I'm building this up. Whew, I just want to relax here, but I know you guys just finished up this run with Integrity and Bewitcher. Live music is back, dude. Let's point that out. I feel like it's better than ever. Have you had the chance to just take this all in, considering what we've all been through these last 2 years? I feel like that's an important thing to note.
Yeah, I mean, you can feel it, the energy from the crowd right when you get up there, because I think a lot of people have had this pent-up frustration for these last 2 years. So that just, we already have an explosive live show with as far as the crowd being involved, but it's just doubled over now because people are just been holding it in this long. So it's more exciting to watch that let out, much less just be playing the show. Yeah.
And one of the things that makes Municipal Waste is the live presence that you guys put on stage. I remember the last time I saw you guys, believe it or not, was 13 years ago in the No Fear Energy Tour in 2009 with Lamb of God, Bodum, I think Azalea Dying was there, and God Forbid. I mean, you guys opened that show, and that was the talk of the entire show. Like the next day, they're like, "Who's that band that up?" Because I went with a bunch of friends, and Municipal Waste. I think The Art of Partying was the last album you guys put out there. But
2009,
2009, yeah. I'm making you think really hard about this. But the touring life, whether it's with Municipal Waste or Bat or Vulture or Immortal Avenger.
Oh, you pulled Immortal Avenger out. Good on you, man.
Bro, I mean, I know you performed at like Hellfest and Bloodstock and Resurrection Fest throughout your career. I mean, would you say you have a newfound appreciation of the touring life now? I know I do. We're talking about the fans coming back, but your opinion on all this, like.
Yeah, I mean, I totally do. And on top of that, like, all these years of doing it, like, I needed a break too, man. So when it first hit, I was like, man, I have some time off for the first time in like 20 years. So, I mean, we took the break. I didn't take the break for granted, but then I started getting antsy though, man, about halfway through. When you're used to traveling so much, you're like, what do you do with yourself? But we just poured it into writing and recording. I mean, we recorded the Waste record. I did a new Bat record. I even finished a screenplay that I've been working on since like 2014. So, I mean, via Zoom meetings like this, I had 2 writing partners, and we finished a script for this heavy metal horror movie I've been doing. So, I mean, I used the time wisely, So, I mean, and now we get to go back out and reap the, all the hard work, and not with the movie yet, because I need about $1 million for that. But
So I went to film school for 3 years. So you're speaking to one of the biggest movie buffs ever. So that actually
you see all these tapes up here, man.
Bro, we have a whole movie library. It's in the next room. Like me and my brothers, like that's all we do. And I know you're a big fan of horror. I'm gonna get to that though, by the way. But with live music, I feel like it's also. So here's the thing, Ryan. I feel like
I gotta put my shit on Do Not Disturb. I've had like 5 people try to call me, even on the audio.
You're an important man. This is it's nice to have things like this to be busy with, right? That's
some
a good
shit's
thing.
important, but not these people trying to hit me up right now. I'm like, leave me alone. It was a FaceTime like thing. I was like, dude, come on.
Oh my gosh. Anyway, what I was gonna say was, live music. I feel like as I was looking these last tours and whatnot for the last maybe 6 months, just 2022, I feel like it's at a point of saturation because everybody and their grandmothers are touring at the same time. I feel like fans are not getting a chance to go to all these shows. I mean, do you feel the same way? Because now everyone was angsty. Everybody's going out on tour. I talked about how live music is back better than ever, but Hellfest, for example, holy shit, the footage that I saw these last few weeks, I've never seen it like that. You know, we got Vakken next month, but do you feel the same way? Like everybody's going on tour at the same time and it's just one after the other.
I mean, there's nothing you could really do. I mean, things have
Yeah.
been postponed like 3 times at this point. That was like, it was like 2 years worth of Hellfest lineups they had to fit in there. So I'm just proud of them for pulling it off. You know, that's still one of my favorite festivals. We've done it 3 times. It's still super organized. So I mean, they pulled it off. You know, the U.S. could take notes with how Europe does their festivals. You know, so
Yeah.
I'm all for it, man. I mean, in the lineups they get, I mean, Merciful Fate played. Like as a fan, I just
Mhm.
would have liked to be there to see that. I was supposed to see him at Copenhagen for my birthday 3 years ago. You know, but we all know what happened then. So
Yeah. So Interview Under Fire, we actually covered our a festival here in Dallas a couple months ago. I don't know if you heard about it, the So What Fest, where they had a mix of metal, rap, and pop, which was crazy to see. But I feel like hopefully we get more of that. I'm gonna lobby for you guys to hopefully be there next year. We need more thrash metal in the Dallas, Texas area. But and of course with Pantera, I mean that really hits home for a person like me. But you know, Electrified Brain, man. Let's get to this now because this is your 7th album. It dropped last week. Do I even get to say last week? And July 11th, but you know, July 1st.
well, July 1st, yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it was a week ago.
Yeah, Nuclear Blast Records. I already mentioned how this is an album of the year contender. I'm gonna quote you here because before we dive a little further into this new album, you mentioned how what you said, quote, as the music business changes with the times, we trust that our vision remains unfazed by trends and our label backs us up with full force. By
I did write that somewhere. Where did I write that? I was proud of that.
You wrote it somewhere, and I want to mention that because this also talks about the re-signing with the label like Nuclear Blast. Because
it was for the re-signing. That's right.
Yeah,
I knew it sounded familiar. I was like, I wrote that.
I said that, didn't I?
I wrote that in like a drive-through in my car, and I was like, let me,
that's really specific. But
not remember writing that. Okay,
but this also marks
the question around that.
the 10th year with the Blast. You know, I feel like this growing relationship that you guys have. But what is it feeling like opening up this new chapter, another new chapter of the band with a revered label like Nuclear Blast? Because you guys are label mates alongside bands like Carcass, Behemoth, Cradle of Filth, and Flames. I feel like not only have they helped you grow, but you have also helped them do the same thing. Would you feel the same way?
Well, yeah, it's one of those things that feels like a friendship, and that's the only way we really roll as like as we're basically a DIY band, very hands-on with all our stuff, from the creative aspect with artwork and obviously production, what we sound like. We don't ever want anyone telling us how to look or sound. So they've never once tried to like put something on us to like make us bigger or whatever you want to say.
Yeah.
People think labels do everything for the band where, we're, like I said, we've been the same operation and they've just kind of stood by us and trusted us. And in turn, we trust them. So, it's a friendship at this point.
Yeah.
And it was a no-brainer. Everyone else said no-brainer in that same press release. I almost did too. So I'll say it now. Yeah. There was no other, we weren't even looking at anyone else to go when we re-signed. So It was always going to be them.
Shout out to the Blast, man, and cheers to you guys for growing that relationship with them. And this is also the follow-up to 2017 Slime and Punishment. This is worth a 5-year wait, bro. I mean, I went back and heard that. Another impressive addition to your catalog. I feel the same way as when I first heard it in 2017. Here's the thing, Ryan. You guys have already had albums which have gone to be recognized as staple records among tens of thousands of thrash metal fans and musicians today. I mean, for example, Decibel magazine, right? They had The Art of Partying in their coveted Hall of Fame. Metal Hammer mentioned that same album as one of the 50 greatest thrash metal albums ever. 2017 Slime and Punishment bowed in the top 3 in the the Billboard Heat Seekers album charts. I mean, all the while you guys have piled up these tens of millions of streams in the process. Despite some lineup changes, with the band, you guys have really honed in to your sound and identity and have stayed true to that over the years. I mean, I don't care who you are, but 7 records is not an easy thing to do, yet here you are. But knowing and being a part of that success that Municipal Waste has been through, Walk me through this, man. I mean, does writing get easier, or does the pressure of several great records make it harder?
I think it gets easier when everyone's contributing because now we're a two guitar band. You know, Phil
Hmm.
is always put in tons of effort bringing stuff on bass, and so there's more of us writing together. So I'm gonna say it's easier now. It's not
Hmm.
just on one guy. A lot of bands, it's like, oh, I got to write a record now. And Tony and Dave too. We all contribute, so I think that makes it easier. We actually have more than enough ideas. We just have to honestly cut the fat because we wrote 4 extra songs for this record that you haven't even heard, man. We might do something with them
Bro,
down the line. So I mean, we like,
B
and
side,
we had
B
the
side,
time. Like
B side.
via the pandemic, we had the time this time. So that was the big game changer for this record. And yeah, there have been times when you're like uninspired, you think you got to write a record, you're like, it goes in like flows like that. You're not going to always be on fire writing riffs.
Hmm. And
But just the camaraderie and the fact that we all still get along, which is very rare for a lot of bands. I think personalities and egos get in the way, and we all know how to pick our battles and know that we're doing something for the greater good. I'm not gonna say obviously you're gonna get into it with a guy here and there, but we don't really fight as a band, and I think that's what pushes us
yeah.
further.
And I mentioned that over 2 decades. I feel like we're well into the band's career at this point. Here's the thing about Electrified Brain. This clocks in about a little over 30 minutes. It didn't feel like that at all.
It
I mean,
just fly by.
it flew by. It flew by like this.
Well,
Like
that's like what Rain and Blood did, right? You flip it over, it's the same thing. I mean,
yeah.
that's
Yeah,
that's when you
exactly.
trim the fat, you just get all killer, man.
At the same time, talk about the neck workout of your life. Good Lord. Tony went on to say that we hope you walk away with some bloody ears, blown speakers, pissed off parents, black eyes. Check, 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 check. Right. As I'm thinking about that, as he's talking about this,
You
I,
pissed your parents off? You still live with your parents?
yeah, I did all of that, man. I mean, I'm not even at home right now, so it's gone.
They're so mad they sent you away from home.
Hell yeah, man. I feel like this album had everything you wanted for not only just a Municipal Waste fan, but also even a heavy metal fan. I mean, the title track to Grave Dive to 10 Cent Beer Night to Paranormal Janitor. By the way, I feel like that should be a title for a horror movie. Just
Well, I took it a different direction, but there is paranormal type supernatural activity. I'm not
yeah,
gonna get
parallel. As
far
I was
into it.
reading those, I wonder if how much do things change from when you first start composing on an album like Electrified Brain to where you ended up finishing it. Did a lot change in between? Did nothing change? Did you already have a specific sound in mind from day one?
Well, the world changed. That was the
Yeah,
thing.
was that?
Things were going, you didn't know what was going to happen next, but we just stayed on it. And we were writing before everything shut down. And then we're like, okay, it's shut down. We just keep writing. So we just had time to make more output, really. That's all, that's the positive of it.
Yeah,
We
and
had
that's
time. We never have time to do anything.
that. I feel like we don't have time to do anything these days. It's just
I need
time
more
just flies.
time.
Yeah.
Everything I'm trying to do, man.
If there's an extra couple hours in the day or a week, sign me up for it. Now, I want to get to the production because the sound itself was a big part of this record that I really loved. The thicker and heavier sound. I feel like you guys really accomplished both. And this was recorded in Philadelphia with producer Arthur Rizek. I hear that name a lot, man. I mean, Arthur, he's known
He's the
for his
man.
work with Power Trip and Code Orange and Zabalba, I believe. I mean, talk about him for a minute here. I'm sure there's that sense of comfortability in the studio for you guys knowing that you had someone like Arthur working on this record with you, right?
Yeah, I could talk about Arthur forever. He's such a great guy because I suggested we use him. He had done a tour with us where he was the sound guy, so we got along with him. He was doing sound for another band,
Yeah.
but I learned he was like a big heavy metal fan like me, and then I checked out his band Eternal Champion and Summerlands, and I'm a tough critic of modern heavy metal, and I think those are two stellar bands, which I was impressed. So
We've done shout outs, so shout out to those bands.
yeah, he's a musician, just as killer as he is a producer or engineer. So we just we vibed, man, and he's a
Yeah.
very relaxed guy too, which is important in the studio because it's stressful, and his temperament really put us at ease. And the room we recorded in probably had the best drum sound I've ever heard, just natural. We didn't, use any samples or triggers or anything on the drums, which we stand
Holy shit.
strongly by. Like I prefer everything to sound like live, natural tones. And we knew he was the guy for that, and he knocked it out of the park. I mean,
Worth
you heard
pissing off the parents, man. Worth getting kicked out for. And between writing and structuring the songs and the
parents
production.
like those triggered drums. We don't like it.
I know, right?
Like shit, man.
Trigger drums. Come on, man. What year is this? And between writing and structuring songs and then the production process, right? Like we just talked about. Keep all this in mind as I'm asking this because I feel like this is the part that I wanted to get into because the lyricism throughout Electrified Brain. This may be a question for Tony, but I want to get your take on it also because you're a fan of horror. You mentioned it. Look, all the shit around you. There's this music video. If anyone hasn't seen it yet, I recommend you do it because the title track or Death Ripper Part 3, as I like to quote it. The Electrified Brain. This insanely crafted horror short directed by Norman Cabrera, who's this esteemed FX artist. He's known for his work with also From Dusk Till Dawn, Walking Dead, Kill Bill, shot at Wolfpack Studios in Burbank. I begin to think about the tangibles of a theme to your music, Ryan. Is that a big component to songwriting for a band like Municipal Waste? Because that was a thing of beauty. I feel like I'm more of a closeted horror fan these days, but I'm becoming more appreciative too.
Well, how much time do you have? Because this is something I could really go into.
I have all the time. That's up to you.
All right.
Bro.
Well, before you give me a 4-part question, I'll get to the basics. So, Norman is my partner for the horror movie that I've written, and he is basically going to be my co-director, whereas he's got 35 years experience in effects and working under Rick Baker. Directing is something he wants to do, and he's a heavy metal fan like me. We did Slime and Punishment together.
Yeah.
We became fast friends. He's like, I want to do another music video. I wrote the lyrics for Electrified Brain, which there you go. So I could actually talk about it. So that's like a short horror story in itself. I sent him the whole album. That's the one that stood out to him because it is like a short horror story. And Norman wrote a treatment up for it. That whole concept with the kid getting abducted and taken through the doctor and breaking free and melting faces. I mean, it's all just like Cronenberg sci-fi extravaganza,
Oh my goodness.
And Norman, and back to like being like pent up, like from the pandemic, like he wasn't working, just like we weren't playing shows. So he's building these ideas in his head. And he says the next thing he does, he just wants to pull out all the stops. And it just happened to be our music video. And the way that he and I work, he was like, I want this video to be the precursor to our film. So when people go, okay, well, what do you got for me? He's like, well, check this video out. This might be a little taste of what we can do. So just putting my head together with him and pulling out like all the stops that he did. He pulled so many favors from huge like makeup artists and people in the industry that are just in it for the same reason that we are. They're all fans of metal and horror, and whether they work on big budget movies, like they enjoy doing stuff like the Electrified Brain video. So a lot of people worked under their rate, just as a favor to Norman, which he would in turn do for them. And this just came out of the pandemic, like everyone wanted it, and it really just showed through,
Man,
so,
I can tell. Like,
Wolfpack, I got to shout out to Rob Lucas at Wolfpack because we did that in a full movie studio, and he's just another heavy metal horror fan, man. So I mean, he helped us out tremendously. So I mean, it was like walking onto your dream set. Norman spent like 6 weeks building it before we even got there. We shot it in 2 days. I mean, it was like a dream come true. If you're trying to make movies, I mean, that's about as close as you're gonna get just doing a 3-minute music video.
Your passion for movies, Ryan, did that start before you got into music, or was it always just was it like coincided together?
Coincided, but I mean, probably music first. But I mean, everyone watches movies. I mean, I have 800 movies just around.
Jesus Christ, that
I mean, a couple thousand records. I mean. If this is the media room, it fills it up, So I mean, I just like being surrounded by it.
Now, I don't know if you're a sentimental person like me, but around you, this may be hard, but I have to ask: what's one piece of art that's around you that means a lot to you the most in that room right now?
In this room, okay. Yeah. So there's a few masks over here. So I mean, I could pull.
I'm making you do some work.
I'll pull out a mask.
All right, cool. I'm gonna play the Halloween theme while this happens. Oh my God! Hold on a second.
I should turn more lights on. Hold on.
I'm making my screen bigger here. This is sick, dude.
All right, hold on. Now we're going. So this is the bat mask that my friend Margaret Rolishi made.
Yeah.
And I
Holy shit. We should have done the interview the entire time like this. Oh man, that's gonna be
eyes, but I mean that's a piece of work, and that's based on a artwork from Wings of Chains that actually sits in my room because I like to keep a close eye on it. But that's something mask wise I'm very proud of, because the other masks, like we have like I don't know if you can see, there's probably a glare on it, but I got Fang Face over there, and
I see it.
Warmonger from American Werewolf. But there's a I don't know. I'm gonna do my talk show again, Living Fast, where I kind of go through and do a whole media room edition, because there's too much stuff in here to talk about. We should focus on.
that's all right. We're gonna do another interview, definitely. I want to bring you back here, and I have to talk about movies and whatnot, because it's really cool, Ryan, that you have other forms of creativity that feed into the music that you make. I love that. Do you have a release date for this movie?
No, because the script is written, but we're looking for funding right now. So, but back to that, it's funny you mentioned Immortal Avenger and my other band Vulture. We're doing the soundtrack for it, so because it lends itself more to like heavy metal type music. So,
but man, Ryan, I know we got 5 minutes left, but I want to round this out because thanks, by the way, for doing this. I mean, I've been looking forward to speaking to you for a while, and for as long as I've been a fan of Municipal Waste. This is a bucket list band for me, so I really appreciate it. I know we've covered a good amount of ground in this awesome conversation. I do appreciate sharing so much about who you're about and what Municipal Waste is all about. Representing thrash metal in the form of the art that you guys are. It's art at this point. All right, let's call it that. From the different experiences and perspectives, in your timeline you have taken in, which we've discussed about performing for as long as you have, and the people you have met and work with during these amazing records, the touring, the growing fan base, the 7 albums over 2 decades, your passion for film. Like, holy shit, I was not prepared for that, but we're going to do another segment. Definitely. I've always been excited to see where you guys go from one point to the next. I feel no different this time around. I think you kind of amped it up a notch with everything that you just showed me. There's definitely a level of inspiration in what you're doing here, Ryan. Have your aspirations as a musician, as a director, or hell, as a human being, have they changed or evolved since when you first started performing in the industry? Like, do you see things differently today?
Well, yeah, I mean, like back to like wanting to direct, it's just like, I never thought I'd be a full-time musician. It's something you start for fun, and then next thing you know, it's like, oh, you're actually doing something. So I hope that with directing it follows in the same path. Like, I think, like, why don't you just go for it? If you don't try, what's going to happen? So, I mean, I just keep going for it, and hopefully it'll turn into something, at least you say you tried if it doesn't work out.
Bro, I got laid off my job like 7 years ago, moved out to California with $2,000 into film school. One of the best decisions of my life. Yeah. Interview Under Fire wouldn't exist if it wasn't for that experience. Like, I've been saying, I want to do this, and I do it, and that's you're doing that. So, yeah. But man, I'm going to see you next month. Do you want to finish? You have something else you want to finish off with?
No, I was just saying I commend you for following your heart with that too.
Hey man, we great minds think alike, bro. I'm going to see you next month at Wrecking Ball. But before we finish off, do you have any last words? Any other shout outs you'd like to plug in or mention as far as your Municipal Waste, new album, movies, before we finish things off here? I don't know if you need music video.
I think we covered most of it. Yeah, I'm about to start looking for funding for the film, so if anyone's got a lot of money, they can get in touch with me.
You got a campaign that you are starting that people can...
Before we try to do crowdfunding, I'm going to see if we can just get some executive producers to do it. But, the crowdfunding thing, I've never done it. So if we do, it might be another way to just promote it more. So we'll see, man.
Let me know, man. Hey, let's stay in touch on the socials. I'd love to help out in any way possible. Yeah, but everyone who's listening, I'm going to get to your. I'll let you go to your next interview, Ryan. This has been awesome. Yeah, again, man. I'll see you at Wrecking Ball. Everyone who's listening, Ryan Waste from Municipal Waste. Electrified Brain is out now on Nuclear Blast Records. Do me a favor, do Ryan a favor, buy the record, because the bands can't do it without your help. And keep an eye out for more awesome shit coming from Municipal Waste and Ryan. All right, brother. Thanks. Much love. I appreciate you, man. Stay safe. I'll see you next time. All right.
Take it easy.
All right. Take it easy, buddy.
Go down to the chair, but that will never stop.
Hey guys, thanks for listening to Interview Under Fire podcast. If you guys liked what you heard, please subscribe and share our channel. And please leave a 5-star review, as that helps us tremendously. If you'd like to check out more, visit www.interviewunderfire.com or our social media channels on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And finally, we want to thank you all for the support you've been giving us. Keep it burning.